Welcome to the podcast. This is Lance, and joined by,
Tristen.
and we're going to talk about various subjects today, starting with our top five video game soundtracks. You want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. Let me just bring it up here.
You already
Is it
forgot.
closed? No, I want to have it right in front of me the entire time.
No, yeah, me too. I just pulled mine up.
My top five will have to go to the Persona series. Starting with Persona 4 being the high point of the series, in my opinion. I know that a lot of people like 3, but I personally enjoy 4.
This is number 5 we're starting at, or are we starting at number 1?
Yes,
Okay.
starting at 5. I love the jazz. I love the upbeat. I love the battle themes of the game. I love the symbolism even in the music. It's all great stuff. And very emotional at times, too. Okay.
I'd say for my number 5, a lot of people hate this game. Hate. But I liked it because it's everything I like, which is it's super edgy. And, a lot of people complain about that, but,
If you say
I
Shadow the
don't.
Hedgehog, I'm out.
No, it's the redundant title, DMC Devil May Cry.
Oh, okay.
I actually thought the soundtrack was pretty good. I mean, I liked everything about the game, but I didn't go into it as a Devil May Cry fan. That was my first DMC experience. But
Damn heathen.
I actually do want to play the other games, but
I was very close to putting Devil May Cry 3 in the list, but I didn't.
I think I've listened to some of DMC 3, and if that's the one I listen to, that one has some pretty good songs. I listen to some of the original Devil May Cry as well, but I can't put that on here just because I haven't heard all of it. I love Devil Trigger though. That's a badass song. But anyways, you're number 4.
This will probably hurt you a bit because it's number 4, but I'm gonna go with the Halo series with Halo 3.
Oh yeah, that does hurt.
I love all the Halo games. Very ambient tracks. I mean the flood levels in Halo 1, the Citadel levels in Halo 2. And Halo 3 I know it's kind of a controversial soundtrack because Halo 3 was, to me, it's oddly enough the most nostalgic because that was right at the beginning of the 360 era, and I don't know, that era to me is very nostalgic for some reason. And I just loved the Halo 3 soundtrack. I loved the way that it handled the emotional scenes as well as the battle scenes. And except for some of the mood whiplash you'd get from some of the music, the ramp ups and everything, it's really, really good stuff.
Halo 3 soundtrack is just depression.
That's because everyone dies in Halo 3.
Yeah, and the soundtrack kind of reflects that. But I mean, if you talk to me whenever around the time it came out, I'd probably say I didn't like it as much as the previous one. I love all the original Halo soundtracks, but now I listen to so many of the songs on repeat that it's up there with the rest of them.
Yeah.
In my opinion now. But so for my top 5, it's actually a little bit hard, kind of in some ways, but whenever I was going through this, I'm like, okay, what video game soundtracks do I go back to? Because I actually don't listen to a ton of different video game soundtracks. I listen to these 5 a lot. So for number 4, I would have to go with the GTA 5, both the ambient soundtracks and the radio. So
Yeah.
I think they had some pretty good ones because I would have to say my number 1 favorite was the one where they had the garbage truck and they rammed the Blitz Play, classic Blitz Play. The song that played during that. That's probably my favorite of all the ambient soundtracks.
I don't know why, but that mission's been bringing up a lot, in a lot of glitch videos lately.
Really? I didn't think. I don't know. GTA
I,
campaign doesn't seem that relevant. Well,
Speed running it is.
I guess it is. I
um,
couldn't say. But I thought the radio was pretty good too, especially the 80s soundtracks. They had some Kenny Loggins on there. They had Roundabout,
yeah.
Phil
All
Collins.
you Joe's Bizarre Adventure fans out there.
Yeah. And
Ugh.
Lance got me into that song like before I actually got into JoJo's. So then
Well, that's because I
whenever I
listened to that show. I listened to that song a lot even before I watched Joe's Bizarre Adventure, and then after I watched it, I'm like, wow, this song fits.
yeah. Well, like after I watched it and then we went back to GTA, I was like, okay, I even like the song more now. And every time I play it, I had to listen to it. But yeah, that's my number 4. What's yours? Or well, your number
Well,
3.
my number 3 is going to be, unsurprisingly, it's a soundtrack I talk about quite a bit, just in for great video game soundtracks. It's what I think of whenever I think great video game soundtracks, and that's the Mario franchise.
Mario.
With the greatest being Mario Galaxy. Gusty Garden, of course, everyone's favorite. Battle Rock. This also extends to Galaxy 2 as well, because both of them are one, they share a lot of tunes as well. But they're both great on their own. They're almost the exact same game as well. Both of them just it's not all of its orchestrated soundtracks, but the ones that are there are fantastic, and even a lot of the chiptune soundtracks are fantastic as well. They really knew how to use the Wii's hardware to benefit that game, to make it sound. And it hits you at the title screen of this is going to be a big game. This is going to be a great one, a one for the memory, like a one for the history books. And it's some great stuff. How about you?
Number 3 is a really hard one because well, I put it as a series, but I'd have to say the Red Dead series. Mostly, no offense to Red Dead Redemption 1, but I'd have to put it between Revolver and Red Dead 2. The first Red Dead Redemption, it was good, but I wouldn't say it's great like the second one and Revolver. But Revolver is just like essentially a compilation of old spaghetti western soundtracks, and
that was
those
when it was really leaning on that whole classic western movie motif and structure.
Yeah, and then they based the main character off of Clint Eastwood.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And the fact that it's very scene based, like a movie would be.
Yeah, exactly.
You go from one, and in fact the whole filter thing too. It's basically trying to be a movie.
Yeah,
like an action movie of just like action scenes, which is fine. It works for the game, and well, I don't remember the music all that much, mainly because it's also been about 5-6 years since I've played Red Dead Redemption 1, and I haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, well, Red Dead 2 had some pretty good ones. It was a hard decision, but if you forced me to pick between the two, I would have to pick Revolver. Red Dead Redemption is kind of too. It's kind of like there's so many depressing soundtracks on there just because that's the nature of the game, but it's amazing. So
yeah,
that is my number 3. Revolver, if you force me to pick out of the series, but I think all 3 of them are fantastic.
My number 2 goes to a series that I've been playing since the very first game, way back when I got the game about a few months after it came out in America. And I bet you could, pretty much guess what it is, and that is the Kingdom Hearts series. Kingdom Hearts 2 being my favorite, not only favorite game in the series, but also favorite soundtrack. I can't remember a lot of the names off the top of my head, but you also have Sanctuary, a lot of the battle tracks, a lot of the remixes are like songs made for the game from other Disney worlds, and it's all fantastic stuff. It's just fantastic, just not only ambient but also just tracks that you just listen to even you can listen to even after. I mean, hell, you listen to Simple and Clean on your own.
Yeah, I love that song.
Even though that's from Kingdom Hearts 1. There's a lot even in 1, even in 3 there's some tracks I really like. And I would say that and 358 is probably the weakest in the series. But there's always at least one or two songs in each of the games that I really enjoy. But yeah,
So out of all of them, which one would you have to pick if you had to pick one? A number one?
Two.
Okay.
Because to me that's just a fantastic. Not only does it hit a lot of the ambience tracks, like just being great on their own, but also showing that you can do ambient tracks and alongside doing like themes that you can hum to, themes you can listen to. That are great sound, like just songs all around, even if they were standalone songs without the game.
And Skrillex
some
is
wouldn't
even in there
make
too.
sense if they weren't. But
Skrillex.
What is your number 2?
For me, I guess it's more of like a compilation of soundtracks if you really think about it. Kind of like Red Dead Revolver. I'd have to say Super Smash Bros. Melee is probably is my number 2.
We did it, boys. We had to mention Nintendo once.
Well, because I always find myself going back to that one. Like like I said, this whole list is like the order
nostalgic.
In which, yeah, that game was just amazing, and I had a soundtrack to match it.
Yeah, seeing as I am a original Smash Brothers guy, that's the one I played the most, except for Brawl on the Wii. That was one of those games that I played, like I said, I played more of the original. Then I skipped Melee on the GameCube and went to Brawl. And then I never got a Wii U because, the Wii U was relevant the day it came out.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Melee's Brawl's like structure and everything, like the music structure. And I like how they introduced a lot, the Metal Gear soundtracks. And I also really like the remix of those. But it didn't hit me as hard as I think the original one, only because the original soundtrack for the Smash Brothers game on the N64, not diverse and not complex at all. It was really, really nostalgic for me.
Yeah, Nintendo's got some good stuff out there. Not just games, but soundtracks as well.
Yeah, I had to restrain myself from putting a Legend of Zelda or a Metroid. And I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't, but we only could do 5. I could have easily done 10 though.
I can't lie, I couldn't. But yeah, what would be yours?
Unsurprisingly, because I listen to a lot of the music out of the game, and it's the game that I say would probably be the game of the decade. Though all 5 of the ones I've mentioned can easily go into number 1 as well. Like I could put any of these at number 1, and I would be content. But the number 1 I choose for at the moment is Witcher 3's soundtrack.
I've heard a little bit of it. I actually have the soundtrack. But it's the little bit I've heard is actually pretty good.
Where especially if you have the complete edition with all the DLCs and everything, You Are Immortal, a lot of the Blood and Wine soundtracks, adding on to the originals, are all the music in the game. Not only whether you're on your horse, just on just going through the paths, or in the forest, or you're fighting a beast, it's all fantastic stuff. I mean, Fields of the Skellige, I think it's Fields of I can't remember the exact name at the top of my head, which is probably really bad form for talking about these songs, but whenever I go to those areas, I always have to stop and listen for a moment, because they're just pure pleasure on the ears.
I know the feeling. Yeah, RPGs have some pretty dope soundtracks.
Yeah, it took me.
It just helps with the immersion.
It took a lot of restraint not to put a Final Fantasy game on here too. Like I said,
really?
I could have done an easy 10 but I chose Kingdom Hearts because to me, Kingdom Hearts just has Edge is the Final Fantasy series out. But if I would have had 10, I would have easily put a Final Fantasy, Resident Evil 2, and quite a few on my on the list. We might do this again another time as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
I might save this document I have just to remind me of what I've already chosen.
So that way you're not changing your mind?
Yeah, well, I'm not repeating myself.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Lord knows I do that already enough.
I do too.
What is your number?
Unsurprisingly, it's the one that I, can't shut up about. For number one, I'd definitely put Halo main series, pre 343. No offense, 343. Combat Evolved through ODST, so not like Halo Wars, because I just haven't listened to it. Nothing against it, but I find myself like listening. Like I at least listen to Halo, like the entire Halo soundtrack, like 3 to 4 months out of the year. Like just that's all I listen to, and sometimes it's 3 to 4 months straight, and that's like all I listen to. But particularly like if you had to ask me like, yo, what is the greatest, not just like my favorite, but what I think is the greatest soundtrack of all time is Halo 2. Just there's so many good, like it's like the whole Halo soundtrack really by Martin and who's the other guy?
You think we do research about this stuff before we start all this, but nope.
Well, I know their last names, Salvatore and O'Donnell. I just forget Michael Salvatore and something O'Donnell. Okay, but
Chris O'Donnell, I think I don't know.
All right, this is bothering me. Hold on, let me look it up.
Well, while you're doing that, I will add that I love the Halo soundtrack. It's why I put it on number 4. You like it more than I do, and because I've also played a lot of other things where I enjoy a lot of the not only just the I mean, heck, they got freaking a band to make an entire original song just for Halo 2. Ended up taking actually mainstream appeal for a little bit with Blow Me Away.
Yeah, I did.
It's like when you do that, you automatically know your music for your game has reached not only the gaming crowd, but also a bit of the mainstream crowd, or at least a pop culture crowd.
Yeah, and I think the lead singer of that band actually like loves playing Halo 2. So,
which I enjoy Halo 2 soundtrack, but to me Halo 3 just hits a little harder.
It definitely hits you in the feels. I can definitely say that. Halo 2's was like more actiony.
Yeah.
And there was a few soundtracks where it kind of captured that what's the word I'm looking for? And
emotion of basically, what you're doing and why you're doing it, and
especially the main
how many times you're teabagging that elite you killed.
Yeah. Michael Salvatore and Martin O'Donnell, like all the music they made is like sex to my ears, basically. So, but yeah, that's my number one favorite of all time.
It's funny that everyone loves the ODST soundtrack. I really enjoy the ODST soundtrack, but it's really good. It's actually I like a lot of other things more about it. I like the story and the gameplay a lot more than the soundtrack.
That's surprising.
I
thought everything about that game was underrated.
Yeah, I enjoy ODST. It is still my favorite Halo game, and will probably seeing as the way Halo's going right now, it probably will be my favorite Halo game.
Yeah, I don't have. It wasn't looking good, and I really hope that they just give themselves time.
Well, seeing as they delayed Infinite for another year.
Oh, a whole nother. Okay, actually, that might be for the best.
Yeah, I think it's November or December of next year. I hope
coming on the one.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think it's going to be just going to.
Well, they've been saying that they will keep it on the one, but if it's a whole year, I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't.
Well, the Xbox One will remain relevant, just like the PS4 will remain relevant for just a little, like maybe 1 or 2 years longer. I'm still waiting for the announcement that they're completely shutting down the 360 servers.
I'm surprised they haven't already.
Because we're reaching the point where, you remember, it only took, 9 years for them to shut down after the Xbox One came out? Or the original Xbox? Like the original Xbox came out, I think they shut down, or it was about 10 years, and the original Xbox was shut down, their servers shut down. It's been how long since the 360 came out, and
Like,
it's still kicking?
Years? No, it's probably over 13 years now, because...
Yeah, it's I guess mainly because, there's a lot more people on the 360 than there was the original Xbox.
Possibly.
But I'm just surprised that they haven't just yanked it and killed it yet, which
I think
I
the only
expect
reason why
within the
they
next
won't...
couple of years it's going to happen. Once the Xbox One prices start really dropping, the people who really couldn't afford to go to the Xbox One will probably migrate over, and then once those numbers really start dropping, they're gonna just kill the 360 eventually.
Well, I don't know that they will, only because the backwards compatibility games, I'm pretty sure they use the 360 servers, like Gears of War 3, because like we were playing on that. You mean Fumbles?
Yeah.
So,
but remember, those could be played. Those well, remember it didn't stop them from killing off the original, with Halo 2 being one of the, still at the time, one of the most popular games to play when the Xbox original Xbox servers were shut down. I mean, Halo 2 was still very popular.
yeah,
and now that they're shutting down, remember, they're already going to lose the Halo games because they're shutting down. They've already announced that's shutting down. So the original Halo servers, like the 3, and the honestly, the Halo 4 kind of got the shot because it's been going the least amount of time from the comparative to the others. Yeah, it's still going on for about 8 years, but it's nothing compared to what Halo 3's been going through, and Reach. ODST's not really losing anything because everything could have been done offline anyway.
Yeah, the only thing I had was Firefight.
Yeah. Firefight the campaign. So, what's next on the agenda?
So, some of the news of Marvel. It's ironic considering I really track it, but I don't watch the movies. Keep up with it? I keep up with it to a degree, but I don't watch it. I mean, I watch the Netflix stuff. That's where my interest is. But there are some of the movies that I do enjoy, and here's two of them that potentially might come together, and that is Venom and Deadpool. So the fact that might happen, I mean, those two movies separately, I watched Venom, I watched Deadpool 1, I haven't watched the second one, but I do want to.
2 is fantastic. I like it just as much as I like the original.
Yeah, I heard only good things about it. But, so this article claims that Deadpool 3 might be in like development hell, which that could be for a number of reasons.
Sad, because that could be bad news for that movie.
Well, it could either be COVID or I mean, because the article doesn't specify. I just got it from what is this damn site? We got this covered. So, I mean, it's the way they make it sound is like if combining these two movies could potentially get it out of development hell. And then Lance, I remember, was telling me that. Well, so I read, online the critic scores are like not the best, but the fans reception seems to be higher.
The movie a little more.
Yeah. For Venom.
Well, it's not in my opinion, it's not a great movie. It's okay.
I personally enjoyed it, but I did have issues with it. So whenever I think of Venom, I normally think of an anti-hero. Well, I guess I kind of think of not the necessarily brutish one, but I think of somebody who's not. They made him a little bit more human than what I was expecting than my particular or my typical image of him. So
they went with the alien backstory. Yeah, they met with the alien back. They didn't go the the human-made suit.
Yeah, the symbiote.
Yeah, they didn't make
well, I guess
symbiote.
they
Went
symbiote.
with they went with the alien thing, which I wasn't against when I initially heard it. I just don't let they kind of, he's not as awesome as you expect because he admits he's kind of a loser on his own planet. So that kind of brings down his appeal, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, me personally, I enjoyed the movie. I just wish they would have made him like more of a villain as opposed to an anti-hero. Even though I love anti-heroes, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's just it's not what I expected, but nonetheless I still enjoyed it and do want to see a second one with him fighting Carnage, which I thought he was going to be
a fantastic sequel. It much like the first Watch Dogs, it could be a okay start to an even better sequel. And I would like to see that. I would like to see them really expand on the Venom character, really expand on the Eddie Brock character, and just do something.
Yeah, I think Tom Hardy's not,
he was fine
terrible
to me.
Eddie Brock.
He was fine with it. I thought he was fine in the movie.
Yeah, and then who I mean, I actually don't know who are the Deadpool villains generally.
It depends what they want to pull. They could pull quite a few characters. So I don't know. I don't know who would be the third movie villains.
It would be interesting to see him and Venom team up against Carnage, though. I think that would be totally badass.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I really would like to see, them team up, and a lot of the fourth wall jokes would continue.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because, yeah, that's the biggest thing that differentiates him from like everybody. And then seeing the mix of the two, like it's a slightly odd mix, but then again, they're both Marvel, so it wouldn't be too odd. But
yeah,
I think it would be interesting.
I still can't wait for the movie where Deadpool goes and kills everyone off.
So instead of Punisher killing the Marvel Universe, it's Deadpool.
It's Deadpool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But
I'm excited for it, providing it actually happens.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I feel like
if anything that can save the Venom franchise, it's teaming him up with a superhero that's already doing well in the movie scene.
I don't know how Venom stories go, stories that focus on Venom, but I feel like considering that there's probably more Spider-Man centered stories than Venom centered, it probably is a little difficult to make a movie, I would think, considering that Spider-Man, you already have all the material out there, you just have to put it into, which it's not an easy task, but just put it into visual form. That can go either way. But whenever you have a character that it's not really centered on, which is why I think they made him an anti-hero as opposed to a villain, just to make it more likable.
Venom, it's just also naturally harder to get, to make a scene look good with him because, well, he's a very difficult character because not only would he have to be 100% CGI, but you have to really work around that to make it look realistic and make it look believable.
Yeah, exactly.
With Spider-Man, whoever's playing Spider-Man, whether it be, people we're going to talk about later, or, Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, or Andrew Garfield, they could be there in the suit, in the flesh. Which means, you could have someone talking to them and they're actually there. Talking to something that's CGI that's not really there can be harder. And, harder to film. And that might be the reason maybe it could be in development hell. Is, it might be harder to film Deadpool and Venom. And also COVID, screwing a lot of stuff over.
Yeah. But speaking of Spider-Man's, pretty much it sounds like they're about to bring the old guard back to that. So Doc Ock's coming back.
Yes.
Tobey Maguire.
And what I'm really excited about is Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield possibly coming back.
Yeah. And then I think Kirsten Dunst is going to be coming back as MJ, and Gwen Stacy, I forget her actress name, is going to be coming back as well. Which
it's funny because she died in the was Ultimate Spider-Man 1 or 2? I can't remember.
Probably the second one. I think she was in the second one.
So they can also, the original Doc Ock from the Tobey Maguire movies, he died as well. And I'm not going to say spoiler because if you haven't watched those movies, they're almost 20 years old. I'm sorry.
I think one of them is 20 years old this year.
But I think it's Spider-Man 1.
Yeah.
But I enjoy all three. I like Spider-Man 1. I love Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 3 is meh. It's got a lot of bad elements to it. I like Amazing Spider-Man 1. I don't like the sequel. And the Tom Holland movies, they're good. They're really good. And
Everybody
the
has
West
their
Side.
strength.
Yeah, I love also a movie that really doesn't ring into it, which is Into the Spider-Verse. That is my favorite Spider-Man movie. It's fantastic. But I want to see Tobey Maguire return.
I especially want to see him return because he's like, he was my favorite Spider-Man of all time. Spider-Man's probably like my favorite superhero of all time. Not necessarily my favorite Marvel character anymore, but I'd definitely love to see him in the suit again, or even a cameo. A cameo would be cool. A cameo with everybody. So
yeah,
I mean, they're not going to release what they're doing because that would be a little futile, and that would kind of
that would
the surprise.
be also bad form for them because you're spoiling pretty much everything that would be happening in the world. We pretty much assume that there's probably going to be time travel or interdimensional shenanigans.
That's what I would assume.
On. Yeah.
The only person they did not do that for was J. Jonah Jameson, though.
Yeah, they may not be able to get him back.
Well, they got him back for the last one. I heard.
They also got him back for Spider-Man PS4 as well. And I'm assuming I haven't played Miles Morales at this moment, but I assume they got him back for that as well. I think.
Yeah, I love that guy that played. I love J.K. Simmons. He's funny.
I love J.K. Simmons as well. He's fantastic in pretty much everything he's in, ranging from playing as Spider-Man's terrible boss to even Portal, being the basically creator of Aperture Science.
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. So
yeah, and he's great in all of it.
Hopefully, he will return as well.
I hope, but if he doesn't return, that'll be sad. But I could understand.
There's probably more opportunities if he doesn't next time.
Yeah, technically he's in the Tom Holland universe.
Yeah, he's straight up. It's not even like a time travel thing or a crossover. He's straight up the same guy.
He's in like some angry reviewer on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, that little clip of him was quite amusing. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I still need to see those movies. There's a lot of movies I need to see in the Marvel universe.
They're good. Like they are really, really good. This is also someone who I watched most of I've watched Homecoming. I haven't watched. Well, I've watched some of the movie because we didn't have time to finish it when I did watch it. Of Far From Home, but from what I watched, it was good. But both of them seem fine movies. I think Tom Holland is a perfect middleman. Because Tobey Maguire to me always seemed like a really great Peter Parker, but okay Spider-Man, and then Andrew Garfield seemed like he was a really good Spider-Man, just not a good Peter Parker. And now we have Tom Holland, which he is about perfect for the middleman, in my opinion. You might have differing opinions on that.
I can't say. I wasn't personally too huge a fan of Andrew Garfield. I just couldn't get into the Amazing Spider-Man movies as much as I did want to in the beginning. I just really didn't enjoy the movies. I thought they were kind of boring.
The first one I really enjoy just because of the speed of the movie and how they handle I liked more like how they handled Spider-Man in the Amazing Spider-Man than I did the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. But I still enjoyed the Sam Raimi movies more than I did the Amazing Spider-Man, just because of that second movie was rough.
That was the one with Elektra, right?
Yes.
Jamie Foxx. Oh yeah, and he could be coming back. Is what I'm reading.
I have no problem with him. I didn't really have with his acting. It just seemed like his character needed a lot of work.
I mean, he's a good actor. He's a great actor, but I didn't care for the character either.
I just think his character needed more work, and that movie needed more work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean that movie's why they didn't have a third one.
Yeah. And that is a shame because they were setting up a lot. They were setting Black Cat. They were setting up a bunch of other characters.
They were trying
to
do
the
too
next
much
movie.
in that, weren't they?
Yeah,
that's what I heard.
They assumed they were going to get a third movie, and they weren't. And that's really, really sad because it could have been a really good sequel to it, but they tried way too much. They gambled way too much in that movie, and they lost.
Oh, it happens, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Yep. And hopefully, who knows, we might get it in this new movie. Maybe Tom Holland or Andrew Garfield will get his time to shine again.
Dude, that would be. Imagine if it's just wrapping up like the trilogy. There was supposed to be a fourth one, and it wraps up Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 by basically being the final third. That would be crazy. It would be interesting.
Wraps up his story. Wraps up Tobey Maguire's story.
I would be impressed if they actually pulled that off. Actually,
I'm just gonna probably predict and say that I bet it's like somehow Tom Holland Spider-Man's they're probably gonna end up in his world, and they're probably just gonna coach him how to be a better Spider-Man.
Yeah. Actually, I think it would be cool if they were like, oh, I made these mistakes, and I see you're a young me. So I'm like,
probably also further getting over, Tony Stark's loss. Like, he's still feeling the effects of that.
The fan base probably is too.
Yeah.
So they're just like, well, here's the Band-Aid, which is Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, which I'm like, I like it.
Yeah, I really do too. I like, especially not to say anything about Andrew Garfield, but just having Tobey Maguire there, doing what he did, but whether I liked him as Peter Parker or not, or Spider-Man. I still loved him as that version of Spider-Man. He was the perfect Spider-Man we needed at that time.
I agree. Yeah, I loved him. I didn't care for Andrew Garfield, but you know what? Like, if he's in the movie, it's not like it ruins it for me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because there's other people who probably want to see him.
He's okay with Spider-Man. He's more of a teenager Spider-Man.
Wasn't he in college?
I think so.
Or was he a teen in college? Well, I don't know.
It's been long enough where I can't remember. But it's always like I really like the first Amazing Spider-Man. I just don't like the second one because the second one's just a mess.
Yeah.
But see what's next. About the thing we always can talk about.
Yeah, I just had to throw this one in there because it's annoying.
If you do not care about Cyberpunk, tune off now.
Yeah, you might as well because this is basically the last topic. But no, it's just like it's annoying. Like,
you want to go over what it is first?
So this is what happened, right? Like, now the investors are. I thought it was like a random fan, which I don't know. The investors could be like people who played the game. They're just like, oh, but no. So the it's the Rosen law firm and the Shaw law firm. They're making these claims that let me read it. That CD Projekt Red made false and misleading statements to the market. So they're suing them for that, and they're claiming it is virtually unplayable on the current generation Xbox or PlayStation systems. Now, I can say, from the Xbox perspective, I have an Xbox from 2015, the original Xbox.
The original black first generation Xbox.
Yes, and it runs on there. It doesn't run, as optimal as I would like it to, but it runs. It plays.
Yeah.
I'm like 50. I've had 50 something hours into the game. Of course, I've had, crashes.
You've had numerous bugs and glitches and annoyances, probably.
Yeah, it's irked me. it hasn't irked me enough to stop playing the game. Like I'll probably stop playing for the night, but that's that's about it. But it's normally not a
Yes.
glitch. It's normally just me getting killed is really why I quit. If I'm being honest, and I'm not just saying that to kiss CD Projekt Red's ass. That's just actually what happens. I rage quit.
My perspective is the fact that I can't say much because I do have one friend at my work who is playing the PS4 version or the PS4 version that he says he has been having a lot more problems. I can understand, and I will even concede saying if it is unplayable on the PS4. I mean, remember they also pulled it from stores a while ago. So if it is a problem on the PS4 systems, then they have a basis for the lawsuit. And like I said earlier, when we were just chatting before this started, what we consider playable and what other players consider playable is two different things. There are some players who consider frame rates lower than 60 unplayable. And from what I've seen on PS4, it sometimes struggles to even render 20 frames per second. For those players, it probably is considered unplayable.
Well, the problem is there's too many subjective things. Essentially,
Yeah, that is
unplayable,
the biggest
virtually
problem. There is a
unplayable.
lot of subjective opinions in this, and I can't say anything towards the console version either. I'm playing on PC. I'm playing with well acceptable, not super graphics and everything. I'm still playing at like 60 on high settings. I can get usually. Maybe it'll dip down to like the sub 40s, but it's always still playable for me. Like if I'm running down the street, driving really fast, maybe it'll dip down to like at most 45 frames for like a second, then dip back up to 50, the high 50s or 60s. And if I dumb it down to medium, I can get over 60. I can get about like much more higher than that. But I usually cap it at 60 because I can get motion sickness if I go higher than that. And that is another thing about this game is a lot of it's going to be subjective about what's playable, what's considered playable, and what's considered not playable. Because even right now, with the changing of with the next generation coming in, there's always going to be that. Oh, we since it's a new generation, which we have much more powerful hardware, we expect higher frame rates, we expect higher resolutions, and there's always going to be that big thing that it's going to be very subjective for a while. It always is at the beginning of the next generation. And that's going to be another sticking point for this game. I don't know if this lawsuit's going to go anywhere, but they're going to have to both sides are going to have to figure something out to get a basis for what is subjective and what is not subjective.
Well, another problem too is the fact that like CD Projekt Red is getting flack. I'd say probably 25% of it, may at the most, is like deserved because they kind of made a mistake in this and that, right? But
they released a game that in some cases could be unplayable, especially if they do have glitches. I understand that, but we have a game that is glitched up the ass.
It is,
and that saddens me because I hope they, even if this lawsuit goes against them, they're not going anywhere. They're set
I don't
for
think
a
they
while.
will. Well, it's stupid for the investors to do it because it's like, okay, well, why are you just trying to hurt the company? You're just trying to get as much money as you can out of them. Like, it upsets me a little bit because they put so much work into this game. Yes, it's buggy, but that doesn't. I mean, look at the manpower. They're not a AAA company. They're not like EA or Bethesda. And to add to that, like I would say their response and their actions and reactions to everything has been like 100% proper. They they actually try to, you submit I think they actually have a system where you can submit a ticket and they actually try to resolve every ticket. Like okay, well, this is wrong. Well, we're going to try to patch this. And then oh, well, you don't want the game or you don't like how glitched it is, here's a refund. Like it's not like they're pulling an EA or Bethesda and shooting themselves in the foot here. I think they're handling it properly and they're not getting credit for that. That's my issue with that.
a thing about it, we don't live in a universe where this happened, but I would have, like, if CD Projekt Red was EA or Activision or Bethesda, I bet they would have done a review embargo of this game, or not allowed reviewers to talk about the game, or at least a month ahead of time. And I'm glad they didn't do that, because they are allowing reviewers to say, if you're not okay with the performance you see here, if you're not okay with the frame rates and the performance and the glitches that you're seeing on the screen, go somewhere else. Which I'm glad, because I've also seen a lot of videos about that, saying, warning people warning what they're stepping into. I just wish Bethesda, or not Bethesda, CD Projekt would have done that themselves. I wish they would have shown off. They could have alleviated a lot of this by showing off the PlayStation 4 version, showing off the Xbox One version before launch, so the consumer could have made a better decision on what they were getting into, what they were going to be buying, and what they were going to be playing.
Well, you know what's sad though about this too is the fact that this might have tainted, the game in many people's perspective, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt the game regardless.
I feel like the game won't ever get the credit it deserves just because they had a very poor launch.
Like, I think it will. Launch. It just might take time.
Well, I feel like a lot of people are going to miss out and give up on the game just because of this. By the time the next console generation comes out, I'm pretty sure it'll be running well. Once the next gen
versions come out, once the true next gen versions come out, I'm sure it'll get a second wind. It always does. Like, a lot of games usually do.
Yeah.
Once we get hardware, console hardware, they can really run it like the PS5 and the Xbox Series X seem to be gearing up to do. Heck, I might actually buy a PS5 version, just so I can have a console version. Because, heck, I bought Witcher 3 on all 3 platforms.
You CD Projekt Red fanboy.
Hey, I 90% of my games are bought through GOG.
Yeah, once I get a PC, I'm thinking of buying
about 50-50. 50-50, actually, to be realistic, is 50-50s on Steam, and 50-50s on GOG, or 50% on one, 50% on the other. But I can understand the frustrations of the PS5, and I'm sure, like I said, for some, it may not be considered playable on the Xbox One. I can't speak for my experience because I haven't played it.
I'll say this: if I have like one of the oldest models of the Xbox One that's been around for 5 years, and other people have newer ones that are more recent, I'm willing to say that if you have a newer Xbox, you should be able to run it probably better than me. So
yeah,
and I mean, I'm running it.
As I said, they may be running better for them, but they may not consider that playable. There's no gold standard that is considered playable.
Yeah, that's the problem, unfortunately. But my biggest hope is that at least I hope that it doesn't taint the greatness of the game. Like, I hope it just gets acclaimed. That's my biggest thing. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I hope that. I think it will probably get the acclaim that it wants, but like I said, it may not be right now. It may be a year or two from now when the next generation version, which I bet they're really trying to get the next gen versions out, because they know that maybe it's time to shine.
Well, those ones might be able to run it better anyhow at the beginning.
Yeah, they're going to be able to run the game miles better than the Xbox One and PS, because we're talking about hardware that's much older than a game that's already demanding as hell on PC. If my PC that's already it's a really, really powerful PC, but it runs it okay, and everything. In fact, it's actually prompted me to possibly upgrade within the next 6 months, do some upgrading with the RAM and graphics card.
Yeah.
It's the fact that that we have so many problems with frame rates and the glitches and stuff on consoles. That's the biggest problem, because I don't think they're really attacking the PC version.
Not from what I've seen.
It might just be PC side. It might just be glitches, because I really don't have that many problems with frame rate. Like I said, unless I'm ramming at a wall going at like 600 miles an hour, which I enjoy doing because I like seeing the physics freak out sometimes.
Well, I mean, yeah, all we can do is hope for the best.
Yeah, we can just hope for the best, and and look towards the future of the game getting better.
And that it is every week now.
It's like a sick friend sitting in bed. You know he's getting better, but it just takes time.
Time and money.
Yeah. Those doctor bills are going to be up there when he gets out, though.
But yeah, that's my piece on that.
Yes. Hopefully next time we'll have to bring up. Hopefully there's not any new news about CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk next time we do this, because we've talked about it every single time.
Yeah, literally. I think I can't remember. I might have talked about it even on the podcast with Steel. So
yeah, I said I wasn't able to join you, but I think that was the weekend I had to work.
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, no, it's been every podcast, so I'm trying not to, bring it up every time and just talk about it
write in the script. Don't talk about CD Projekt Red or Cyberpunk.
Yeah. As much as I love them.
Now that we said that, there's going to be something big that we're going to want to talk about.
Yeah. Because
the next gen versions are announced, and you're like, well, shit.
It's just that it frustrated me, so that's why I felt the need to talk about it on this one.
Yeah. But, I understand both sides of it, honestly. I really do. So, anything else?
I think that is it, my friend.
Okay. So, thank you for joining us. We hope we can do this very soon. So, this is Lance signing off. Tristen?
Signing off. In a galaxy far, far away.
Okay.